is good for you. So let's talk about the first topic, sugar and sugary drinks. Well, for the first time, they have put a number on the effect of sugary drinks on health and deaths each year. Now, for years, they've attributed deaths to tobacco and tobacco products and death toll. Well, a new study suggests that the consumption of sugary drinks may account for an estimated 184,000 adult deaths each year worldwide, according to research published in the journal Circulation. Many countries in the world have had a lot of deaths occurring from sugary beverages. The senior author of this study, Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian, he's an MD, PhD, said that this study should be a global priority because now we are seeing the effects of sugary drinks largely exported by America to foreign countries, and they actually put a number on it now at 184,000 deaths per year. And this is rather, I think a lot of folks will see this as a stunning bit of information because, we've never thought about it. I mean, we think about tobacco as deadly, we think about cholesterol as deadly, but how about that? How about looking at sugar as a deadly product? And of course, the death toll comes from a rise in obesity, a rise in diabetes, a rise in, actually it's connected to heart disease because of the lowering of HDL. And of course, diabetes indirectly is a risk factor for heart disease. And of course, diabetes also carries the risks associated with diabetes, which includes not only heart disease, but kidney disease, infections, foot amputations, and the like. So we really need to rethink how often we all drink sugary beverages. So that's kind of a sobering bit of information published in the journal Circulation. The second item is the decision of the FDA to no longer consider trans fat as generally recognized as safe. Basically, it becomes a ban on trans fat in foods. And this is really an important ruling. And they say that by 2018, it has to be taken away from the food chain in the U.S. And it's about time. And for years, we thought that hydrogenated oils were just like other foods. But now we're finding that the trans fats produced in the process of hydrogenating oils are responsible for a lot of the problems associated with the intake of fat, including heart disease. And for years, it was thought that hydrogenated oils were a healthier substitute for lard because the process of hydrogenation takes vegetable oil, you hydrogenate it, you actually turn it into an oil. Technically, oils are liquid at room temperature and fats are solid at room temperature. The process of hydrogenating oils will make oils behave like saturated fats. In other words, can be solid at room temperature. You know the old phrase, melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Well, that's the idea of hydrogenating vegetable oils. And the thought was that, well, because it comes from vegetables, it'll be healthier. And so they used to promote hydrogenated oils as a healthier substitute, including, of course, the most famous product that we're all familiar with that's hydrogenated is margarine. And for years we thought margarine was more healthy than butter, and it turns out that it's either not any healthier or actually maybe worse for us. So we are going to see a ban on trans fat by 2018. So it's actually an important and useful ruling that the FDA has decided on. The third article is about chocolate. Is chocolate actually good for us? I think a lot of folks want to know the answer to this because, of course, there's a lot of chocolate things associated with are holidays, right? Chocolate cakes and chocolate pudding and chocolate candies and so forth. Well, chocolate eaters are kind of celebrating because a series of recent tests suggests that chocolate eaters have less heart disease. Oh my gosh. And a new study published in Heart, scientists looked at the data on 20,951 people in a study known as EPIC, and it compared, it's actually based on a food questionnaire, and over an 11-year period, people who ate the highest amount of chocolate were at 11% less risk of heart disease and 25% less likely to die of cardiovascular disease compared to those eating the list. Well, we need to be aware that, you've got to be aware that correlation does not result in causation. However, this actually is looking pretty good for chocolate. Now, I caution people, don't start binging on chocolate thinking that's going to be healthy for you, because there's other components of chocolate that are not, including the sugar, which we just talked about, and the fat. And, if it's milk chocolate, it's got saturated fat and so forth. And a lot of the current chocolate products, if you read the label, is full of partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, which we just said we need to avoid. However, if you look at natural dark chocolate, something to think about. Now, they do caution about the results of this study. Again, they say specifically association does not prove causation. Second thing, there may be some questions about how reliable the questionnaire is, but the other point is what they call reverse causation. I may explain the results. For example, people who are unhealthy will tend to eat less chocolate because they've been told by their doctors to eat less chocolate. So don't go binging on chocolate quite yet. But it doesn't look like chocolate is as bad as we might have thought. So that's my report for this evening. All right, now we've got a few minutes before the bottom of the hour. Do you want to say something, Dr. Nomura?
Well, Dr. Shintani, I know how you really trust these bagged veggies, and sometimes I see you eating out of the bagged veggies, leafy greens out of the bags. Well, I have something here that may interest you. These days, we can buy pre-washed leafy greens in the supermarket, fresh vegetables that come in sealed plastic bags labeled pre-washed.
Right, and I've seen triple wash too, right?
Right, yeah, right. Okay. Some people eat
Sounds like you're not convinced.
Some people eat those leafy greens right out of the bag without washing them. Why not? It says on the bag, like you said, pre-washed. Right. If you do that, here's information you may want to know or you may not want to know. Steve Smith, reporting for medicaldaily.com, warned, quote, no matter how washed you think your produce is, there's a chance it did not get washed well or at all, end quote. Smith said pre-washed foods lead some people to eat it straight from the bag, but you might want to reconsider doing that. He reported that food safety researchers at the University of California, Riverside found bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella can survive the bleaching process used in some food processing plants because of the many folds and contours of leafy greens. Did you know they bleaches in that water that they wash with? The researchers warned those contours and folds are so pronounced that only 15%, and that's 15% of a typical spinach leaf is exposed to the disinfectant. The researchers took triple washed spinach, which was supposed to have been run under a disinfectant of 50 to 200 parts per million of bleach to water, and they washed it themselves with the same disinfectant. What they found is that almost 90%, 90 of the bacteria was still alive and well on the spinach. Nicola M. Kissinger, Kissinger, a postdoctoral researcher on the study, said the leaf surface formed microenvironments that reduced the bleach concentration, and in this case, the very disinfection processes intended to clean, remove, and prevent contamination was found to be the potential pathway to amplifying foodborne outbreaks. It may be better to at least wash those pre-washed leafy greens yourself. That's what I would do. But Dr. Benjamin Chapman, an assistant professor and food safety extension specialist at the North Carolina State University, said, quote, rinsing is not going to do a whole heck of a lot for food safety, end quote. He said that will get rid of the things you can see, dirt or other physical objects, but if you really want to ensure that your spinach is bacteria-free, you'll have to cook it. Smith said people may be surprised to learn that the vegetables they are eating have bacteria on them, but it's not surprising to anyone in the food safety community. He said some experts say eating fruits and vegetables may outweigh the risk of catching a disease, and that's probably true, but it would be better to not eat pre-washed greens, leafy greens directly out of the bag. Do not be fooled by a label that says pre-washed. Wash them yourself.
Wow, very, very interesting and very important information. I guess I better stop doing that myself, huh?
Well, apparently it didn't do you any harm.
Yep, never
So
got
that may be a
foodborne illness
testimony
from
to that.
triple washed greens. But the truth is, I have done that. I have eaten, greens straight out of a triple washed organic container.
Why not? It says pre-washed.
Right, there you go. All right, well, we're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, a report from Dr. Ruth Heydrich. And later in the show, I'll be talking about holiday eating tips, how to stay healthy through the holidays. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back after these messages.
When looking for the world's best organic apple cider vinegar, there's only one that stands above all others. That's the